Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to the Harpin on Rugby preview show on our YouTube channel. Please don't be shy with the like and or subscribe button if you can. Joining me to look ahead to Leinster's first ever appearance in the URC Grand Final is someone back for his 117th Harpin cap. Hello once more to Mr. Neil Keego Keegan.
I'm not nervous. You're nervous. I'm absolutely fine. Happy Friday.
I'm not going to be nervous at all. Of course, we're not. Well, before we start, Keego, let's just have a quick look back over last week. What did you make of the performance against Glasgow?
We needed that. Glasgow, as we said last week, Glasgow were not scared. They were ready to rock and roll, as you can see from their first try. Good crack in the stadium, even though the numbers weren't what we would like. Good volume in there. We were in the North Stand. And yeah, listen, that's the performance that we needed. That's the performance that game that we won't talk about kind of took out of us for a couple of weeks. We needed that to steady the ship, and now we move forward.
Yeah, we needed to see it from the players that they were ready. And as we said on our rap pod, like just having players back like Dan Sheehan and Tommy O'Brien just in the starting lineup literally made an instant impact from
Yeah.
the kickoff, and they brought it home from there. It wasn't perfect throughout. It's not supposed to be perfect in a
Mm-hmm.
in the final four of a major competition. So I think it was all positive, and we got the result and more players back this week. So we'll talk about that a
Yeah.
bit later. Yeah. So let's move on and talk about that feature match of the week, which is, of course, Leinster v. the Vodacom Bulls in the grand final of the 24-25 BKT United Rugby Championship. The game is taking place at Croke Park this Saturday, June the 14th, kicking off at 5 p.m. TV coverage is on TG Cahir, Premier Sports 1, and URC.tv. Leinster named their matchday squad at lunchtime on Thursday this week. They caught me out. I didn't know they were going a day early, the one day they do it. If you're watching on YouTube, you should see it right there in the screen, or for pod listeners, it's in the program notes. Now, Keego has picked out loads of points from this team. There's loads to harp on with this lineup. We're going to start with Mr. Clarkson at number 3.
Yeah, big day for Clarkson and number one, Leinster. I know you're listening. I love the Thursday match day announcements. It gives me a little bit of time to do a bit of research before I talk to Jeff. I appreciate that.
It's my
Uh,
fault. I didn't read the memo. They did tell me, but I wasn't paying attention.
but I do love it. Clarkson's put in a massive shift over the last little while, and I think the kind of the furlong shadow is starting to dissipate a wee bit. We're starting to, let him recover and do what he's got to do. Clarkson is the man there, and they've been playing well. Obviously, you're mentioning Sheehan back to his unplayable best last week. We're going to need everyone the scrum in a wee bit, but it's a big day for Clarkson. He's well up for it. They've been priming him up for the last little while, so I think they knew the situation with himself, and now they're bringing Clarkson through as the main man. So yeah, full confidence in him, but he's got a big shift ahead of him.
Yeah, I love the way he took his try. He was real determined to get over the line last week, and yeah, I think he played his way into the start. I mean,
Yep.
we're going to talk a bit later about how the scrum's going to pan out on Saturday, and there's a big, strong case to be made for Slimani to start the game, but it's a huge vote of confidence for Clarkson to put him in there. Okay, your second point is about our midfield.
It's delicious, and listen, we're obviously missing Henshaw and all that sort of stuff, but the one that I wanted to see most over the season was Barrett and Ringrose. I know there's injuries, and we've picked certain players at different times and all that sort of stuff that we don't need to talk about right now. But this is delicious. This is they hit off each other really well. The way they play the game is similar but different, and they're both big tackling units. So I'm really looking forward to it. And it's great to see Ringrose back.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we've been saying, like with the recent matches, is what happened to the Leinster that put 50 points on Glasgow, back in April or whatever it was, and one of the things is that the center pairing that day was Jordy Barrett and Gary Ringrose. Now we've got a lot of great centers at Leinster, but I think those two are probably, if you know you have those two and they're fit, and you
Hmm.
can you definitely start them in the middle. And like I say, Gary Ringrose is a big. He really helps out our defense as well. So it's great to have them both back. Okay, so your third point is about the O'Briens in the team.
Delighted for the O'Briens, and again, slightly gutted for Osborne, which we'll talk about as well. But like they, similar to Clarkson, they've really put a massive shift in this season, and obviously last season as well. But this is the reward, and it's not, we're not given jerseys due to they've just shown up. They've put the shift in. Some of the tackles these lads have been putting in have been brilliant. Last week with Keenan gone, we all had a couple of questions about the 15 jersey. no questions this week. Sometimes you'd say when you take Keenan out, they're going to ping the ball straight to 15 just to test them out early. I'm not worried about that. So, the O'Briens are worth their jersey, and they're going to have a big shift on the big day. Like in terms of Osborne, watching him live is spectacular. He is some player, and he's played everywhere on the pitch, which means he may end up a sub more often than not. But the selection is great. I'm delighted for the O'Brien. Slightly gutted for the Osborne, but on balance, I'm delighted, as you can tell.
Yeah, last week, I mean, I was saying how before the team was named for the Glasgow semifinal, I was like, well, so long as they can play like Hugo Keenan did in the quarterfinal, because he was man of the match. And then, of course, he can't play. But
Yeah.
of course, he's the one who drops out. But listen, Jimmy O'Brien has done great in his
Yep.
place, and he's quality under the ball. He's got a big boot in him as well, and he can, he's got the pace of a winger as well. He's good for that back three, so he's done well. Tommy O'Brien, we made a case for him. He could have been player of the match last week himself, really, and I think Barrett likes playing with him as well. There's a lot of aspects to there, so it is great to see them. It is unfortunate for Osborne; he does drop to the bench. Also unfortunate for Frawley, but when you bring players back, someone does have to miss out in this lineup, and I think they've probably found the right mix there. Also, on the subject of returning players, Josh Van der Flair. Now, Scott Penny, I thought he did really well last week. We were talking about how, we may have had some reservations about our back row last weekend, but I think himself and Baird, they did a good job. But, if Van der Flair is available, you pick him. And it is great to see him there. It's a big boost. Everything he does around the pitch, the carrying, the seven work, but the link play and the lineouts as well. If our lineouts are going to work, he's a big part of that plan as well. So, so it's really strong 23 all around, and it's gotten progressively stronger every week as we've gone along. And I think this is one of the best we can put out there. Okay, so listen, now it's time to have a quick look at the Vodacom Bulls. They of course finished second in the URC regular season. This is the first time in 4 years the top two have reached the final. They put away Embra 42-33 in the quarterfinals, and the Sharks 25-13 last week. What do you make of their lineup, Keego?
I do like when we have a league in a 115-week season, and it does come down to the 1 and 2. I do think that shows that things work out long term, which is great for the competition. Now, Jesus, they're not here to play games. So I last week I said that the opposition may fancy a shot at our front row. This week I don't think they fancy it as much as last week, based on the job Clarkson did. I think their 4 and 5 are monsters. Excuse me, my voice just cracked there. Monsters. At the mere mention of them, my voice cracked. And I think that's where they're going to fancy it, especially if they can do a bit of damage early with Snyman off the pitch. Nothing against Ryan and McCarthy. They played brilliantly last week, but I do think that's where they're going to see it. They're going to try and disrupt the line out. I think specifically in the second row, because there was a couple of line outs that went astray last week, and then their back three are lethal as well. We have to have our eyes on and our brains switched on all the way through. Their back three is class. They have a great 9 and 10. It's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I mean, you look, there's class right the way throughout that squad. Willie LaRue at the back, and all the way down to Devin Williams at 23. Yep. I mean, it's a they've got players that can hurt you all over the park, and like you say, the scrum is their kind of main focus. I've been reading a lot. There's a lot of comments. They think that they're just going to completely blow our scrum away. I'm not sure about that. A lot will depend on the first few scrums are going to be key and they're going to get a lot of their momentum from that. And but they are missing Hanekom. Last year they beat us in the semifinal, and he was a huge part, and he went down injured last week against Sharks. Hasn't made it this week, so that's a big loss for them. But I think it's more how I think it's their team kind of unity. I mean, we talk about Leinster, how we haven't won a final in so many years. We're looking for a trophy. They're exactly the same. They thought they had it won last year. That but and they're yet to win one of these as well. So they're really gunning for it. And if you look at our website at harpandrugby.blog, you'll see the press conferences from the two sides. We've got videos up there of that. In the Bulls case, they're drawing a lot of inspiration, as if they didn't have it already, but they're drawing a lot of inspiration from the tragic death earlier this year, former teammate Cornell Hendricks. Jake White was saying how Cornell would wear number 14. He died on the 14th of May. This match is taking place on the 14th of June. He talks a lot about the number 14, but that's a way of they're very good at using that to motivate the players as well. They want to win it for him and his memory and all that. So it's definitely something you can work on to motivate a side which will already have little fear traveling to Dublin.
No, 100%. And I think that the fact that, we have a couple of players leaving as well, obviously very, very different story, but we have players leaving that we want, shout out to Cian Healy, 150 years of age, still putting the shift in, more trophies in his cabinet that I have underwear in my drawer. The shift he's put in is amazing that we won't appreciate for a few years. But I think, we've got, similar to them, we've got to draw on absolutely every piece that we can for one day only. Like generally, I don't say play on emotion or anything like that, but today or tomorrow we got to use everything, and the scrum is going to be massive. That's what it's the one number that kind of skewers one way fairly decently. Everything else is pretty close, and I think if we can find parity earlier on, that brings that superpower down. No, parity is the wrong term. Obviously, we want to be winning the scrums, but I think if we can put a little bit of doubt in their mind early, that will creep in, because then players like Slimani come on, and we got a picture taken with him last week after the match. He is bigger in real life than he looks on the telly. He's bigger than my car that we have in the driveway, and like players like that, we need to come on. But the scrum is going to be massive. I think the two coaches are playing the media game really well. I love Leo being a little bit spikier. He's a lovely bloke, so it's in Leo terms, not in real terms, being a little bit spikier with the media, and the opposition coach is just being brilliant as well. So like, I don't think there's any needle. I don't think there's any bad blood. I think it's just going to be two massive teams going at it, and they're going to leave everything out there, and then the lads get about 4 hours off before they go on the Lions tour, which is tough on them.
I know there's no end, and yeah, and the scrum, like we say, is going to be key. So that brings us nicely onto our officials
Mm.
for the match, and it's Andrea Piardi again. I'm nothing against him personally. I'm surprised they've got the same ref 2 weeks in a row. You don't, I mean, we used to. I think there was one year Leinster won a Heineken Cup. We had Nigel Owens for all the knockout matches for the three of them. So I didn't think they did that anymore. But anyway, he's got the whistle this weekend, so his decisions will be key. The weather for Dublin was interesting. I checked it after the teams were named, and it said partly cloudy with showers. When I checked it again today, it had changed to partly cloudy with a shower. So I don't know, is that one big shower?
One shower.
Yeah, one big shower for the whole game, or is it just one little I don't know. Listen, you can never tell. You just always expect rain anyway, whatever happens. It says 55% chance of rain. Should be cool enough, not much wind factor. So we'll see what happens on the day. Okay, so listen, normally this is where we look at other matches this weekend. And of course, there are big playoff clashes elsewhere. There's the Premiership, Top 14, Super Rugby, but we like to focus on just the URC, which of course, as we all know, is the best league. So we're just going to jump straight ahead to head on the block time. Keego, how do you see it going at Croker on Saturday?
Well, I just love the fact they can say one shower. Met Aaron obviously got a new computer this week, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
is that a downgrade or an upgrade? I'm not sure what that is of the forecast.
not that I'm trying to avoid answering your question, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the way the lads played last week is a great way to go into a final against a top team. It wasn't like a lower ranked team that kind of squeaked through. That can happen sometimes. They beat a top team, and there's another top team coming. Like, I'm going for a Leinster win. Um, I'm going for, like, I think it's going to be two kicks in the difference. I think it's going to be that close. I think it's like it's one score, two kicks kind of thing. And it's not going to be a coast to the finish. It's going to be 80 plus minutes of absolute warfare. And yeah, I think it's Leinster by two kicks or one score.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty much almost guaranteed it's going to be close. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to call, but like you say, I think Jake White is a Kenny coach. He's going to have all sorts of specific plans, and of course, it was those kind of specific plans that did for us in that game a few weeks ago that we don't want to talk about. So he's really good at coming up with that. But I still think everything is on our side. If we play the way we know we can, we play to our strengths. We make the most of the players we've got coming back and get more improved performances throughout the 23. I think we will be favorites, make the most of home advantage, all that kind of stuff. So fingers crossed. And while we're talking about predictions, congratulations. We have a prediction league going on amongst all the contributors, and usually we have a sort of a jersey of shame, we call it, that goes to the last one, and I think you've kind of clinched that you don't wear it this year. Congratulations. David Cordial joined us. He goes on Vibes every week. I think he automatically selected Zebra to win every week throughout the league. But you'll be sending that jersey on to him shortly. So you finally got rid of it, man. Congratulations!
What a start! What a good start for the weekend.
It is.
I was worried.
Hopefully, we'll be celebrating even more afterwards.
I was worried I'd need a big one tomorrow to get rid of that jersey.
Yeah,
Great
that's
stuff.
it. That's it.
Oh, it's like
no, I can't say. I can't see him. I can't see him catching you. I don't think it's mathematically possible. But listen, hopefully our predictions on Leinster this weekend go true, and it should be a great final. So listen, we're going to leave it there, man. Many thanks for joining us again, and all throughout the season. Really been great having a chat with you every week. What stand-up gigs do you have coming up?
So before the family holiday, I'm in Dublin on the 22nd of June, and I'm up in Belfast Dublin 21st, Belfast 22nd. So, and then we go and get sunburnt in Spain. So,
and you've gigs over there as well.
Gigs over there. So,
no, they're not supposed to know about that yet. No.
Yeah, cerveza por favor. That's pretty much my Spanish. So I need to figure some more out. But
that's it.
I'm on Duolingo for another week.
Brilliant stuff. And of course, you'll find a link to all Keego stuff in the program notes. Okay, listen, thanks again to you all for checking out our latest preview show. Be sure to enjoy the match wherever you are, and leave a comment on our Facebook page after the full-time whistle. We will, of course, have our wrap pod for you, which we'll record on Sunday night. Hopefully it'll be a good one, and hopefully you'll help us out by liking, sharing, subscribing. In the meantime, come on the Leinster. Stay safe, everyone. Slán.